The tension in the Newsmax studio was thick enough to cut with a knife. Bill O'Reilly, the 74-year-old veteran broadcaster, sat behind the polished desk with his signature smirk, completely confident he was about to demolish another young Democrat politician. What he didn't expect was that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had come prepared with ammunition that would turn his own words into weapons against him. "Ladies and gentlemen," O'Reilly began, his voice dripping with condescension, "we're here with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who thinks she can lecture America about justice while having zero real accomplishments in her brief career." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Crockett, sitting across from him in a sharp burgundy blazer, didn't flinch. Her dark eyes locked onto O'Reilly's with the intensity of someone who had been underestimated her entire life. What happened next would leave O'Reilly scrambling for words and create the most explosive political moment of the week. The 33-year-old freshman congresswoman was about to deliver a response so devastating that it would trend on every social media platform within minutes. Before we dive into this incredible showdown, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss these jaw-dropping political moments. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The stage was set for what would become one of the most memorable political confrontations in recent memory. O'Reilly thought he was interviewing another rookie politician he could easily intimidate. He had no idea he was about to face someone who would flip his own playbook against him. Bill O'Reilly had built his career on being the guy who asked the tough questions. For decades, he dominated cable news as the host of The O'Reilly Factor on Fox News, where he perfected the art of interrupting guests and talking over anyone who disagreed with him. His catchphrase, "No spin zone," became legendary, even though critics argued he spun stories harder than anyone else in media. At 74, O'Reilly still commanded respect from conservative audiences despite the controversies that ended his Fox News career in 2017. Sexual harassment allegations and massive settlement payouts had forced him out of prime time, but he rebuilt his brand through podcasts, books, and occasional guest spots on networks like Newsmax. His ego remained as large as ever, and he still believed he could dismantle any opponent with his aggressive interview style. O'Reilly had a particular disdain for young Democratic politicians, especially women of color who he felt were all talk and no substance. He saw them as easy targets, inexperienced politicians who crumbled under pressure from a seasoned media veteran. His preparation for this interview had been minimal because he assumed it would be another routine takedown. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett represented Texas's 30th district and had quickly become one of the most dynamic voices in the Democratic Party. At 33, she was young by Washington standards, but her path to Congress had been anything but easy. Born and raised in St. Louis, she had worked her way through college and law school, eventually becoming a successful civil rights attorney in Dallas. Her legal background was impressive. She had handled high-profile cases involving police misconduct and voting rights violations. Before running for Congress, she served in the Texas House of Representatives, where she gained national attention for her passionate speeches defending voting rights and criminal justice reform. Crockett was known for her sharp intellect and ability to cut through political nonsense with surgical precision. Unlike many politicians who spoke in carefully crafted talking points, she had a gift for explaining complex issues in ways that regular people could understand. Her social media presence was growing rapidly, with young voters particularly drawn to her authentic style and willingness to call out hypocrisy wherever she found it. What made Crockett particularly dangerous as an opponent was her legal training. She knew how to build a case, how to present evidence, and how to cross-examine hostile witnesses. She also had something many politicians lacked: genuine passion for the issues she fought for, rooted in her own experiences growing up in communities affected by the policies she now worked to change. This wasn't just another cable news interview. For O'Reilly, it was a chance to reassert his dominance and prove he could still take down rising Democratic stars. He needed wins like this to maintain his relevance in the conservative media ecosystem and justify his continued presence on shows like Newsmax. For Crockett, the interview represented both opportunity and danger. A good performance could elevate her national profile and establish her as a serious player in Democratic politics. A poor showing could reinforce stereotypes about young politicians being unprepared for prime time. The broader stakes were even higher. This confrontation represented a clash between the old guard of conservative media, represented by O'Reilly's generation of aggressive male hosts, and the new generation of diverse Democratic politicians who refused to be intimidated or talked over. The setting was Newsmax's main studio, with its red, white, and blue backdrop designed to evoke American patriotism. The lighting was harsh, designed to put guests on edge. O'Reilly sat behind his familiar desk setup, while Crockett was positioned slightly lower in a guest chair, a subtle power dynamic that most viewers wouldn't consciously notice, but which reinforced the host's authority. Both participants had their game faces on. O'Reilly's research folder was thick with opposition research and attack lines. Crockett's phone was nearby, loaded with her own receipts and evidence that she might need to reference. Neither realized how dramatically the next 20 minutes would shift both of their trajectories.